Chart
This
of account.
conference will now be recorded.
Chart of accounts where we stopped, and we have completed the chart of accounts. Let us start with this master data. Nagalakshmi, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening. What happened? What's any questions you have? Practice is completed.
Yeah, sir, I completed until all the configurations.
How many companies you created?
I have created 5 names.
5 companies. Great. Okay. I'll check it out later. Have you completed till additional configuration of chart of accounts?
Yeah, yes, sir, I have completed.
Everything is completed. Okay. Okay. I'll check it out later. Try to be on time, Nagalakshmi. Okay. Try to be on time.
Yeah,
Hmm?
yeah, okay,
Uh,
sir.
okay. That's good. Okay, we just started, and I was just telling about we completed configurations of chart of accounts. Then we are like, why did we created all this? So we wanted to do the financial close. That means financial journal entries, which we wanted to the GL account entries, which we wanted to do that activity. That means that is general ledger accounting. So in this, just like on that day I mentioned that sales account credit to customer debit. Sorry, sales account credit to bank credit. Then expenses debit to bank credit. Like this, we wanted to check the entries of like how we can do the general ledger accounting in SAP. For that, we have completed organization. We set up the company. Then we set up the chart of account configuration which are required to create GL accounts. Why we require GL accounts? The GL accounts are used to host this. So the GL account like sales accounts, bank account, expenses account, we call GL accounts, master data. Now today we will see this how to do this GL account entries, that means GL account creation, and how to do the transactions. Today we are going to see this. This is the agenda for the day. And we call GL accounts in SAP master data creation. That is GL creation. Master data can be created in a T code called FS00, that is GL accounts creation. So what are the things you have to do? So I open up here. You have GL master data. How to create this? Let's go here. There is only one T code. So in this document, the creating the GL master data for the company code are explained. So what is GL? I already said there are some T code for this, and also path is there. Path and T code both are there. But GL creation is a user activity. What is user activity? The front end activity. This is a front end, right? We discussed what is front end and what is back end and all. Generally, the the GLs are created by users only. But when we want to test something, when we want to do some test activities and other things, consultant also initially we create. So this is the path SAP Easy Access Accounting Financial Accounting General. As we are doing first time, I'm using this path first time. But generally, GL accounts, all master data are created under front end only. So what is this? Path SAP Easy Access Accounting. This is Easy Access Accounting under the financial accounting, general ledger accounting, master records, GL accounts here, individual processing center. So this is the path. So here FSW, the T codes will come in the user that SAP user access, the T codes will be appeared there only, but not in configuration. Double click on that, and you find this. So this is the navigation path which is mentioned here, and let me try to zoom it out. So I hope it's a little bit clear now. This is the navigation path, and then below screenshot of FSW screen will appear first step. That means when you are doing first time in your system, and first time in your system, and also first time in your first time in your company coordinator, actually the screen will appear like this. I show you that. Screen will appear like this first time. So we can do here also activity, but if the screen is like looks in a different way, that means if you get a navigation tree, that tree in the left side, it's easy that what are the GLs you created under what group you are creating. It's easy to understand. That's the reason if your screen appears like this, what I'm showing in the right side, the screen, same screen here. If appears like this, one side please. So then what you should do, so the below step screenshot FSW0 will appear first time. If the GL navigation displayed, ignore this. That means if it appears the regular way, which I'm going to show you in further slides, you don't need to do this step. What I'm going to do, I'm going to add navigation display. That means we can see the GL accounts which are already there in our company and all the details in the left side. So what you should do, you have to, one sec actually. Go to here, hierarchy display in the settings. What I'm doing, go to in settings, go to hierarchy display, then display accounts in navigation tree, click on this, click OK. So the new settings will take effect. What does it mean? It's going to be like you to reach, like see the tree. What you should do, you have to click OK here. Then you should go back actually. Go back and again double click. Now you see, we can see this left side navigation. That means here you can find the GL accounts what you created, and you can click and you can check everything easily. To get this screen, you have to do this steps whichever I showed you. To get this screen, you have to do this. If your first time itself, if you get this screen, you don't need to do that step again. So whichever I showed you just now. Now after this, let us create the GL account. What are the GL accounts? Let us create. Let us plan. So we do create 3 GLs. One is sales GL, bank GL, and expenses means let me create like some printing expenses GL. Okay, let me create these 3 GL accounts. One is sales, another one is printing, another one is bank. 3 GL accounts we will create to post the check the transactions. And I go to creation button here. First time when you're getting, already company code is there. Can you see the screen? Is it clear to you? The screens?
No, sir.
Actually, it's little bit blurry here also. I hope I'll make it little bit sized down. The screenshots are not clear to you. I know that, I can understand. What you can do now, when you are seeing the screenshot in your stream, it is going to be very clear, not a problem. Right now, let me restart this. Yeah, that's the maximum quality. When you are seeing this screen, you will get it. Okay, don't worry about it. Just follow the steps here, whichever I am mentioning. Okay, because I'm okay with this screen, but maybe you're not clear. Let me open up in Word. It is little bit clear, right? It is clear actually. So there it was not clear in PDF, but here it's very clear. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So okay, now go to hierarchy display, and below screen will appear, and then come down and display navigation tree, and click now display accounts navigation tree. Then so once it is appeared, so that you have to go back and restart. Actually, that's what is. So re-enter the code in a forward slash. It means you can go to the new page. So that will appear. So then you see this screen. So now let us start creating GL account. What are the GL accounts? Three GLs I have to create. That's what I planned. Sales GL, bank GL, and what are the codes I should use? Codes means I created GL groups here. So I mentioned here, if I want to create a sales GL, I should do from these two groups. One is sales from the revenue from operations. What does it mean? Revenue from operation means the sales and other things. So that I can use this range. In this range, this is the first GL which I can use it, like 4450 40000 This is the range. I can use first GL, create this. This is the GL account number for this. See, for example, sales direct. I can say sales from domestic sales. I can create. Then I can create sales like foreign sales. I can create the next GL account like 400001 and 0000 for other sales GLs, like that, sales and other GLs, related GLs I can create under this, like that. The numbers I have to give from the range. So like just like that, the bank GL I can create from the bank and cash range 230000. So this is the 230000, the bank. This is the starting number. I can take this number here. The printing and stationery is an expenses. It's generally it's an administration expenses. Administration expenses, which I can take from the administration expenses 5 series. 510000 to 510000. This is the range. First GL I create from 510000. So let us start creating this. So remember, this is balance sheet GL and these two are P&L account GL. What should I do? Click on create icon button below. What is that? This is the white button which you are seeing. Exactly the same white button I show you. This one. Click on create and enter the GL account number. So what GL account you want to create? I want to create the GL account, sales GL first. So copy this GL account and click here and change the company code. Which company code you are using? I am using B-21. Under this company code, I want to create this GL account. Click OK. So right side, if you notice here, the screen that will open. Screen will get open. The same thing is here. Click OK. It will get open. What you should do here? Click on the GL account type field and drop down and select the appropriate account type. What are the account types are there? You can notice here GL account types are 5 types. C means cash account. N means non-operating expenses revenue used for non-operational GL accounts like interest received, dividend, like whichever is not operational income or revenues. So that we are going to create these GLs account under this group. And C means cash account. We use for bank and cash journal GL accounts. And P means primary cost or revenue. The P&L account GLs we can use it. Secondary cost element used for the purpose of controlling mode. It is not actually GL accounts. And balance sheet GLs used for balance sheet GL creation. So it's a P&L account GL. So let us try like we are going to create only these two, that is primary cost or revenue and balance sheet GLs. These two only we are going to use. We will learn this cash account and non-operating secondary later stage. Don't worry right now. Now I am creating sales GL which falls under primary cost or revenue. I need to select that group here. Select the group, primary cost or revenue. And then you have to select the group, which account group it is. Select the type and account group it is. So this account group, it is G012. This is the group number which we have created. G012. So you should select a group here, G012, revenue from operations, and enter the GL name. GL name, I need like domestic sales, I'll create.
Sir, that is Z012.
Z number. We should not say Z, we should say Z. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Z is Indian, this one. If you say Z in US and other country, well, they don't understand actually what is Z at all. We should say Z. So domestic sales, yes, it's Z012 only from our concept, but we should pronounce it in which way, that's Z. Next, go to control data. It's exactly the steps are mentioned here. Update these, update all the things. Here select the primary cost revenue, for example, for P&L account GL, balance sheet accounts for balance sheet GL. Like we have to select which one is appropriate. And then after filling up all the data, click on control data. Control data, this is the tab. So here you should select sort key. Sort key. There is one thing is there. After selecting sort key is here. Select appropriate sort key. Generally select 001 for all. But there is one more step is there which we are not going to see now. So below settings marked in red. This is in only nodes. Should be used after controlling area created. That means controlling module when you are learning, it's going to be activated. As we are learning only FI now, please ignore these steps. Should follow these steps once controlling module is activated. Then I'm going to teach you how to do this one. Right now, don't worry about it. And the below steps marked in red only applicable for primary cost or revenue. That is only for P&L account GL. When you're creating P&L account GL, after activating controlling module only, it is going to be activated. So that as of now, you can ignore this red marked. We'll come back again once controlling module is activated. Like scroll below and you find some cost element category like this, but we don't find here the cost element category as of now. Okay, just ignore this small steps, all these steps, whichever is red now. The final step, click on create bank interest. Icon. There's a field status group you should select. How you are going to select field status group? You should select for balance. There's a guidance like general field status selection, not exactly in the real time, but as a beginner, you just follow this. Select as per the GL type. Balance sheet G001, expenses GL G004, revenue. If you are creating a balance sheet GL, you should select G001. If you are creating a GL account, expenses GL, then G004, revenue GL G029. Okay, you should select like this, and as per you can pick up from the drop down. I go here, go inside, and I'm creating expense revenue GL now. G029 I'll select. That is revenue account. Just blindly follow this. And then once it is done, just save it. So now my GLs actually created that you can see here. The data saved it came. So how to see that? Just go back and come back again. You can notice that GL is created in the left side. What is next? So I explained these steps here again. Once you start creating GL account, click on new create button here, left side, and then enter the company code and the GL account. One sec, please. Once you enter the GL account, okay, click OK. Then the window will open in the right side and select an appropriate GL account type. GL account types are 5 types. So like P&L account, balance sheet, cash GL account, non-operating, and balance sheet, like secondary. So we are working only on primary cost, that is P&L account and balance sheet as of now. So here we are selecting primary cost or revenue. Select primary cost as I'm creating a sales GL, and then select the group. Group means which group the GL account number falls. So you should select whichever the group it belongs to. Then you should enter the text. Text means what is the GL account, GL name. GL name you enter in short text and long text, and then click on Control tab and enter the short key. Short key generally 001. So, but below settings, as I mentioned, you can ignore as of now. All are red. Just go to next tab is control create bank interest. Here Select the GL field status group. Field status group. If you are creating balance sheet GL, you should select G001. If you are creating expenses GL, you should use G004. If you are creating revenue, you should create 0. We are creating sales GL. Then we created G029 in our case. Then save it. So GL account will get created. That's it. This is the last step. I hope it is clear. Nagalakshmi and Arshita, steps are clear. The idea.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So 1 minute, just
This conference will now be recorded.
so I'm going to create this second GL. Okay. So again, click on this create button and enter the GL account number and company code. Click OK. Select the GL account type. It's a P&L account type. Then you should select primary cost or revenue and the group. Printing will fall under 51 series will fall under administration expenses, that is 51 series, that is Z015. And the GL account name is printing and stationery, printing expenses GL. And click on control data, sort key as usual, sort key 001, and click on create bank interest. So it's a revenue GL, sorry, it's an expenses GL. Then, so as per the guidance here, you should select G004. So go inside and select G004. Save it. So you can notice here it got one more GL 5100, another 2 GLs we created. Third GL 230000, that is bank GL. The bank GL group falls under Z009. So click here and the GL account number is 230000 and click on company code. Okay. And select
Sir,
it. It is not, sorry,
can we type manually the ranges, sir?
manually.
Ranges,
Sorry.
sir, number.
Yes, you can enter manually. It is not a P&L account, it's a balance sheet GL. Click on balance sheet. Select the group. Group is bank and cash, and it's a bank GL. Enter the name and click on control data. Again, sort key 001. Click on create bank interest. Create bank interest balance sheet GLs, whether it's an asset GL or a liability GL, it should be G001. Select G001 and save it. So we created 3 GLs now. Okay, click OK. So why did we created this? That means our master data is completed. Now let us move to the entries. Entries means what entries we have to do. As we already had a plan. Okay, say let us do an entry like sales credit to bank credit and printing and stationery debit to bank credit. Sales credit to bank debit and printing and stationery debit to bank. So let us do these 2 entries. How to do these entries so that you'll understand this. So I am going to do this for like 1000 rupees. This or 1000 rupees this entry, and this one 800. Just a simple end transactions. Let me show you. If you want to do the transactions, you should do these transactions in FB50. The T code is we use it to post a transaction is FB50. So post GL to GL transaction. GL transactions we can do it. So that means we are posting here the sales account to bank account. Sales account credit to bank account debit. So what should I do? This is the T code. I show you the transaction here. You have the PDF for that. I show you the PDF later, because if I show parallel, it will create a confusion to you. I show the transaction, then I show the PDF, then you can use that PDF. What you should do? Enter FB50, the T code FB50. First thing what you should do, always you should change the company. You should check the company code. You can notice here company code is HP21. Our company code is B-21. So that you have to switch the company code here. Change the company code B-21. Click OK. Now let us post the data. So here we are posting a journal entry. That's it. Very simple transaction. So here document date is there, posting date is there. Document date means the bill what we are booking is a bill date. You can pick up the date from the drop down, and already posting date generally the system date. Today's date it will automatically appear. Reference means we call bill numbers. Text means narration, like being, we write being and all, right? Narration we can enter, small narration. Here the sales credit to bank credit. You can pick up the GL accounts. Here is the drop down button is there. Click on the drop down button and go inside. You created three GLs. One is printing and stationery, domestic GL and bank GL. That all three GLs are appearing here. So you can click on this domestic sales, the first GL. It will automatically come here. Again in the down, you select the bank GL the same way. Double click on this. It's a credit entry, it's debit. As mentioned, amount I'm going to make it 1000 rupees. 1000 again. So now debit and credit is enter 1000 and it is matching here. Just enter in keyboard. So it's asking sales. It's in a, like a narration is mandatory here. So an entry is required in text field. For the time being, if it is ask you, just enter. If you don't, if it's not asking you, it's just like it's a narration, like being whatever the narrations. What is this entry is about? We can enter. Just enter here, and it's actually sales entry. It's not a printing and station. It's a sales entry. You can enter this text. It's if it's asks only. If it's not asking you, don't worry about it. But right now, you just enter this amount. So it's matching now, and debit and credit is matching. And just simulate means we can review this entry. We can review this entry. It is taken. So here you can notice domestic sales is credit. How do you find credit here in SAP? After amount, if you find a minus mark, that is credit. If you don't have minus, means it's a debit entry. So credit and debit. And you notice here there are many information system automatically fetch. The document type, the type of transaction is a GL account type, the GL transaction. And which company code it is, which posting period means it's automatically taken fifth period means January, February, March, April, May, fifth period, fiscal year 2000, like whatever the configurations which you have done, it's using all the configuration to do these transactions, the basic configurations. Now, so when you save this transaction, if there is no error, that means if system is not stopping you, means that your all configurations and setups are okay, testing is okay for this. Is the test entry which we are doing. That means your setups and whatever you have done, the steps are correct. That's the meaning of it. If it throws some error, then we have to look into that particular error where we have done the mistakes. Let us save this. I'm getting some error. Generally, you get this error like first time. This is not actually your fault. Always remember, this is not actually your fault. In your system, you may get this error, you may not get this error. When you get this error, what you should correct the customer settings if you get this error. Click on here. Remember, when you get this error, I give the PDF for this. If you get this error, what you should do, click on this and click on this FINC. Second blue color fonts are the last line. So fin cust chk p is there. Fin underscore cust underscore cons underscore chk underscore p. Some program name is there. You have to click. If you take your mouse here, it will create a hand. Just click here. Then what you should do, there is something is there. So there is something 0c 0e 0l something is added, but there is something you should notice here. Red is here, 0c ledger and 0e ledger is there. Whatever the red color marked except 0l, you find except 0l, you find all the other red. Okay, it may be 1 or it may be 2, it may be 3, it may be 5, it may be 10. Don't worry, it may be 10 or 1 or whatever it is. What you should do if you get this error, what you should do if you get this, I give the PDF for this, but notice here what I'm going to do it here. Okay, simple. Go to Universal Journal. I do it parallelly. FINC underscore ledger. The T code for Universal Ledger is FINC underscore ledger. Universal Ledger configurations, what we have done. You get this error only first time only, because there is something is there. You understand why this error is coming when you're doing the parallel ledger. Right now, this error is not a fault of yours. Okay, what you should do for this error, if you get this customizing error, click, go to FINC underscore ledger, just click OK here and select. Okay, 0C is there, 0C. Here is the 0C is there, 0C is there. Click on, select this 0C and click on company code settings. Click OK. Find the company code, your company code, B-21 is my company code. Select this company code and delete. That means I'm de-assigning that ledger for my company code. De-assigning that ledger for my company code. Save it. See, if you get this 0C and 0E, remember, if you get this 0C and 0E both, 0C and 0E, then you should do this one step. Additionally, if you get something like, okay, H1 or IW or something, if you get any additional ledgers, then you should do this step for all. You should do this first step for all. That means you have to de-assign the ledgers whichever is assigned automatically to my company code. That means, what does it mean? The meaning of this is very simple. The ledgers whichever is not required to us is automatically get connected. There is some reason for that. We discuss it later stage. You should de-assign that. You should tell the system, my company code do not want this 0C ledger whichever is connected automatically. I want only 0L which is already activated. So whenever you get this 0C, you have to only de-assign 0C. Above 0L, above 0L, 0C is there. 0C you have to disconnect, then automatically 0E will also go. That's the reason you will come to know later. But other than this, if you get anything, for example, if you get A or something, B2 or something else, you have to do this activity. Select this B5 or whatever, whichever the ledger which is showing in the list. Select this and click on company code and delete company code, find a cover company code, select that one company code and there. So for example, B is there. If I click here and my code is not there, BH25 is there. B5 is the B5, BF121 is not there, so we don't need to worry about it. Whichever it shows here only, you have to de-assign that, and once it is done, you have to save this. Click OK. So the data is already saved. Now let us, after doing this, let us try to do the same activity. Go back and cancel this entry. You have to cancel entire things. Again, do the FB50, the T code which we try to use, post the transaction, check the company code, and enter the dates, document date, posting date, narration and reference and narration, and pick up the GL account. Sorry, pick up sales GL, and then bank GL, credit and debit. Amount is 1,000 rupees, 1,000 rupees, and the text is mandatory here. So I'm going to enter the text here, sales entry. Enter in keyboard, it's accepted, and simulate and recheck the entry and save it. Still I'm getting some error. Let me check out. So again same error, customer is record. So click on this. Yes. Something 0 is also there. So I deleted 0C. 0 is not. See, once you deleted 1, that is gone. 0C is gone, 0E is not there. So now I should do the same thing. Select 0 here and go to company code settings and click OK and select VF121 and delete. So why did I do this? See, sometimes what happens, the company code is connected to this 0C and 0 is there. One, if you do one step is enough. If it's not going like this, you should do some two steps. That means you should, like this, if you have multiple ledgers like this, like 0, he is RE or something, you have to do the same step again and again. Okay, remember. And you don't need to save every time. You can do it directly. Once you can delete all and then you directly save it, because every time it takes some time to save. It saves the time. So now I deleted 0E also. That means if you do not delete that, deassign that entry, deassign that ledger, a system do not allow you to. So now it is going to save you. So 2 times I have done. You have to do the whatever the ledgers list it will show here. You have to do the same thing. We will understand why we do this at the time of parallel ledger. Right now, don't worry about it. Data was saved. Go back. Let us do the same transaction again. Same entry, same date, same reference, same like narration, and pick up the same GL account, domestic sales, and pick up the same GL account, bank GL, credit and debit, 1,000, and 1,000 again. Enter and enter the narration. It's already entered. Now simulate. Now we don't get that error. Save. See, once the one entry is posted, that means you are successful. Your setup and configurations, master data, everything is okay. That means your configurations and understanding is clear. So till posting one entry is actually you get some errors or something. Once we have posted our first entry, it is done. So we got this document number from the document number, then just we have done in FBN1, and system has taken all the configuration to post this transaction. You can cross check like document type, period, field status we used in GL account creation, universal journal we use for the ledger posting. Like this, everything is used. You don't come to know every usage right now. Just for in beginners, what you should do, you should be able to post this transaction. Once it is done, this is successful. So now let me show you one more entry. I'm going to do the second entry, that is printing and stationery to bank GL account. Expenses booking, I'm going to do this. So I do this again, the same company code, same date, and same posting date. Says posting date means generally system date. Reference is bill number, whatever you want you can enter, and this is printing and stationery expenses. And I pick up this time, I pick up the GL account. printing and stationery 510000, and bank GL, and this is debit, printing expenses debit, and bank credit. Amount is 800, I mentioned 800, and the text is mandatory here. You can come here in the right side by entering the tab in the keyboard, enter. Here also it's entry, expenses entry. So I change the entry here, expenses entry. You can enter text. You can enter whatever is narration it is. So now it's done, and simulate this. You can cross check the entry. You can notice here bank is getting credited this time, expenses is debited, and the document type is SA, and company code is BH121, date and period, and everything is picked up. And you can say, see, first time it is saved, first entry means second time you don't get error at all. Don't worry, you can directly save it, it will get saved. That means first entry only will check all the configuration. One entry is posted and every configuration will apply for the same. That means every time that will be successful. Second entry got posted. That means what you should do, you do not limit to only 2 or 3 entries. Create on 10, 20 GL accounts and post the transactions in between. Like create printing and stationery, salary GL, rent GL, and you create bank GL like SBI Bank, HDFC Bank, like that. Sales, domestic sales, foreign sales, like this, interest received, like this, whatever the GLs which you get it in your mind, you please create all the GLs multiple times and post the transactions just like this, like between those GLs, debit and credit, like multiple, like at least 20, 20, 30 entries you post, so that you'll become familiar with SAP. Don't stop it for one or two entries. And finally, after posting this ledger, we can see this ledger. That means where we can see the GL ledger, we call it. We call general GL ledger V. What does it mean? So the entries we got posted, like I posted one entry for sales, one entry for this, where we can see these ledgers, like purchase ledger, expenses ledger, bank ledger, like this. We can see this ledger in this. There is no PDF for this, okay, but you can. It's just in view. Go to this FBL3M, and also whenever you posted any transaction, if you want to see immediately see that entry, what you can do, you can go here, display. You can go here in the document and go to display here, and you see that entry whatever you posted. You can cross check that. Sorry. Here, company code is BI121, document date is this, posting date is this, period is this, number is this. This is the transaction. You can double click on this. You can cross check everything. Okay, this is the way you can do it. We'll learn it deeper stage in later stage, and we can check the ledger in a T code called FBL3N. Enter that FBL3N. Enter, and which GL you want to check. Say for example, I want to check sales GL. Select the sales GL. Here there are many options are there. So right now let us do not check this below options. Just check here the GL account and company code. Pick up the GL account. Which GL account you want to see? No, the transaction history you can see. The GL account transaction history. So what are the transactions are made? Say for example, I'll pick up this domestic sales. I want to know the GL. Execute this. See the entry is showing here. So the document number is this, and this is the document type, and this is the date which is posted, document date, and this is the amount which is get credited. And if you double click on this, you can just view that entry, and even you can click on this like a document overview button, and you can cross check that entry. That means what is that entry detail and other things and all. So just like that, if you want to check other GL account, say for example printing and stationery, you can check. For printing and stationery and bank cash sales GL, we have made only one entry. One time we use 800, the second document number and details. But if you check the sales bank GL, we use 2 times. Then you can see that we will see the 2 line items here. That is the history it will capture in this, the ledger history. Execute. See, one is debited 1000 and credited 800. 200 is there, and this is the bank GL. So that because whatever the GL history which we have made, that will capture it. That is, we call it as general ledger view or GL, general ledger postings we can see here. So this is enough for GL. That means we successfully completed general ledger. That's it. So we are going to deeper stage in later stage. Right now, this is the basics. And relating to this document, whichever I like, the postings which you want to post, you have the PDF for that. I'm going to update it to the Trigme. You can check out over there. I hope it's clear, right? Any doubts you're getting, Nagalashmi and Harshita?
No, sir.
Yeah. So the same steps whichever I explained, everything is here. FB50, the transactions. So this document explains the posting of GL to GL transaction steps. The path is there. You can use the path. I use the T code directly, FB50. The paths are and steps. First step, you have to check the company code. If you do not have the correct company code, you have to change the company code by checking here. Then you have to click on change the company code and update the dates. Document date means bill date usually. Posting date means system date, reference, bill number, header text, GL account, select the debit and credit and amount you have to enter. If it's text is mandatory, then you can enter that whatever I entered here. The details. So once the details are updated, so again below steps marked in red should be used after controlling area. So there is some controlling area configurations. As for the time being in the PDF, you can ignore this red marked one. Okay, so below steps marked using controlling area, as we are learning only FI now. So now ignore these steps. You can ignore this red mark one here. That's it. But these steps, click on simulate. That's the step which I said, and cross check the entry. If everything is okay, just save. So system generates an entry document. You can see the document number here. Then if you want to see that immediately, you can click on document and check on display so that you can view that entry here. So this is top. So for customizing error, I'm going to give a separate PDF for that if you get that error. So because in Trigme itself, you find one page. In Trigme itself, I'm going to show you that. You find one page for the purpose of errors and solutions. So you have to enter the error message so that you'll find it. You should start learning that also, because when you become individual, like that means when you start your journey with SAP and other things and all, you should be your self confidence. That means you should be able to find the answers by yourself. Okay, I show you where to find that error. This one hinting me. You find this FICO errors and solution. As of now, it is not yet updated, but it's going to be updated. That errors, whichever I showed you, right? Like today, customize error, which we got it. So like that, each and every error, which I'm going to update here, so that you can find the solutions here. Almost whenever you post any error, right, in group and all, here afterwards you're going to find the solutions here with the video. What is that error and explanation and details are going to be updated here, so that when you come here, there is one options will be there. You can find the, let's say this, that's what I'm going to add here, so that because when you enter that message number, what is that message number? Whenever you get any error, right, so you get a message number. For example, in today's like in the WhatsApp, like in group, we discussed in group or individually you sent, even Ankit and Arshita, I believe everybody sent that, like. So there is a message number FAGL underscore CONF 100. Are you finding that message number? Are you able to see that? For every message, there is a message number is there. Arshita and Nagalashmi, see that?
Yes, sir.
Are you seeing? Yeah. So you should come here, like in the trig me, you should enter that message number here so that you can find the respective video and notes for that here. So that you will get an answers over there itself. Okay, are you getting my point? So try start learning
Yes, sir.
this so that you'll be self dependent. You will not, you should not be depend on me. You are going to get for everything like this. Okay. Hmm? I hope it's till is clear, and this completes GL account. Tomorrow we are going to see that's
This
the topic.
conference will now be recorded.